Hello and welcome to what is part 8 of the 100% free agency accession course. And today it's all about leads. So how to actually find leads, how to find good leads, what even are leads, everything like that. So yeah, let's get on with it. Today's agenda, we start off by going over the 3 best ways to source leads for different budgets. Then we move on to how to actually hire lead sourcers. And we will go over that more later, and managing leads and also verifying leads. So yeah, quite a lot to go through. Also, do remember to subscribe and follow. It really helps me out. And it just basically means we can actually spread the this course. So if you find value in it, please consider subscribing and follow. And all the links will be in the description. And also if you want support and sort of have a community to talk to like-minded people and actually get help from me directly, join the Facebook group. Right now, it's also linked in the description. Very amazing value you can find in there. And yeah, as I mentioned, share the course. This really only grows if people actually share it. So if you find value, I really would appreciate it if you would just share this with someone that you actually feel can find some value in it. So right, that's it. But first of all, important, if you want to succeed, watch the entire video. Don't skip, don't fast forward. You know the drill. Alright, so yeah, that was that. Now let's get into the actually interesting stuff. So as I mentioned, leads. So yeah, going right into it. So to be able to book any appointments through outbound, we need to find prospects in your niche to reach out to. And in this module, I will show you the different ways that are the best for different budgets. So yeah, just starting off by explaining sort of leads, because leads is a quite broad used term, and there's really no exact definition to it. So what I mean by lead is someone like you have basically found their information so that you can contact them and turn them into an appointment, hopefully. So yeah, the lead info you will need, if you're following, will follow the systems I will show you later in this course. And again, it says here, it depends on which system you'll be using. But these are basically the most important ones. So it's a first name, last name, personal email, very important. Sometimes it can work with like the general email for the business, like info or something like that. But that is only if it's a smaller business and you know that the let's say the owner uses that email themselves. Otherwise, just go for personal emails. And don't worry, I'll show you how to find those. Website URL, job title, company name, and phone number. Those are the main important ones. And yeah, so the first method, this is almost free and manual, and I only really recommend this method if you're completely broke and have no money to invest, which is completely fine. We all need to start somewhere, but like the first thing, I really think that you should outsource first in your like agency journey. So let's say you got a couple bucks to invest. I would really recommend that you outsource this method, which I'll sort of show you later how you do that. But again, if you don't have any money, you need to start somewhere. So yeah, most of the lead info mentioned above, like these ones here, can be found on the company's website or on the prospect's social media such as LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, etc. And you should already know where your niche hangs out the most. So choose that platform. So if you have done your market research correctly, you should have an idea of where your target audience are hanging out, on like what social medias and whatever. And then I would really recommend that you start out there. And yeah, also for most niches, finding a company website using Google is probably the best option. So you can use do this manually and just like find different companies. And then the main thing, because of course, almost everything here you can find on like social media websites, just going there. But one thing that can be tricky is the actual email part, because not a lot of companies actually show their personal emails on the website or their social medias, which is why we're using this tool here. So first of all, you need to actually find a way to find them on social media or the Google, just find their website and whatever. And then, yeah, as I just said, the only thing that can be tricky to find is the email address. So using this tool, which is called Snovio, snov.io, and just go in here very quickly. I assume you sort of can understand how to actually use this. It's quite simple. You just get a free account. And I'm quite sure that there is a free plan where you have like 150 credits per month, which is not a lot. But again, if you are just starting out and completely beginner, we all need to start somewhere. So this is a really good tool to use. So basically what that means, let's just go on Google and search, let's just search like chiropractor New York. So if let's say you were in the chiro niche, you just go to a random one, like this one, you go to their website. And then when you download this smma.io tool, you use it as an extension here. I don't have it right now. For some reason that website didn't work. Let's just take this one. So when you're on the actual website itself, you'll then just go to your extensions. You use the extension here, you just press on it, and then you'll be able to search the website for email addresses that are actually attached to the domain. So with just a little bit of thinking, you can quite quickly figure out which email address might be the owner and stuff like that. So it's quite simple to use. And yeah, that is the one I would recommend if you don't have anything to invest at all, at least to start. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, the free version only allows a certain amount of searches before you need to upgrade to a paid plan. So if you want to make it really cheap, yeah, here's a really good tip. So you can create an account, use all searches, and then create a new account and repeat. And this method is the cheapest option, but the least efficient. As I mentioned, like if you do this yourself, of course do it in the beginning, but once you get a little bit of experience and got some money coming in, quickly outsource this. So if you like the lead quality of doing this way, because it's usually quite a good way to actually find quality leads, it's just that it takes time. So if you try this yourself and you like the lead quality, and then you can actually sort of like outsource this entire process if you want to scale this, and then you can just hire VAs to do this manual process for you. You can sort of use the same templates that I'm going to show you later in this video to actually hire VAs for this, but then you of course need to show them and train them how to actually do this if you have found a concept that is working for you. But that's basically it for the first method. It's really, really simple, and I don't think I need to explain a lot more on that. It's just finding them on mostly Google, using the smma tool to find the info you need. Okay, method 2. So this is both cheap and automatic. And yeah, so we can use software to automate the lead sourcing process. There are a ton of options out there, such as D7 Lead Finder, Lead Carrot, Contact Ecom, Store Leads, Apollo, Book Your Data, built with Wapalizer. This is just a ton of examples. And you can, yeah, by the way, if you want to find these and go to the links, you can just go to the resource section and find this actual document there. And the good thing about this method is that you don't need to do a ton of manual work, and it's quite cheap. However, the bad thing is that since you are able to get these leads quite easily and cheaply, everybody else who is looking for leads can as well. So this means that the leads you get from these platforms probably have been run through by your competitors, and it will be harder for you to book meetings with these prospects compared to reaching out to someone who has never been reached out to before. And yeah, it's literally quite impossible to find prospects that haven't been reached out to these days, but you can find prospects that haven't been reached out to less than others. Another bad thing about this method is that the lead quality can be quite low, since the databases are so large and there's no one going through and verifying the leads consistently. So if you choose this method, the only one I can recommend is Apollo itself. And since I've used it myself before and seen good results, I believe it's the cheapest as well if you do it as I show you. So yeah, there is another video on my channel, which is, I think it's called like the best lead sourcing strategy 2023, where I go over how you can actually use certain filters within Apollo. But I'm gonna go over it quite briefly here as well. So yeah, simply you go to apollo.io and you create a free account, log in, search people. So yeah, this is where you'll end up if we log in. I am already logged in, great. We go to search and then people. So up here in the left corner you can find search. And yeah, if I can move this, yeah. We then are at people. So here you have a ton of different filters you can use. The first and most simple one is just to simply search for people here. So again, let's say you're in a chiropractor niche and want to find chiropractors. Here you already have 14,000. which can be quite good and simple. However, how I usually do this if I want to find leads is that I don't really use this normal search bar. So first, I really just use as many filters I can. So what I usually do is, all right, so the first one is probably job title. And in this case, probably owner of like chiropractor. I'm not sure what they call like studios or whatever. But I assume they'll have like owners, probably can be a founder I want to talk to, CEO if it's a really, really big like franchise or whatever. And yeah, then we move on to location. So location is quite important. So in this case, we just take United States because yeah, we want to reach English speaking businesses. Employees usually doesn't matter that much. If you want to, let's say, only target a bigger business, you can of course use that. But here we actually go to industry and keywords. So here is quite an important one. And for some reason, this has saved as chiropractors. So let me just refresh. All right, yeah, here we go. So now the only filters we have are the job titles and the location. By the way, yeah, so let's say I'm in the chiropractor niche and I might actually want to talk to chiropractors. I can just really add that in here, which is great. So yeah, and then what I was mentioning was that, okay, location and then industry and keywords. This is very, very nice. So you can first see if you can actually find the actual industry within the industry tab. But there, like what I've found is that usually it's not a lot. Like you can't be very, very specific about this. So what I usually do is I just don't really go to industry. So what I do is I go to first, yeah, company keywords, and then I go to include keywords. So here let's say chiropractors again. I just include chiropractor, let's say. And then I can add like this social media description, SEO description as well. If it can load. Yeah, so now we've actually found around 5K prospects. But if you remember, when I first did the manual search, we found like 14,000. So what I usually do is I usually just play around and see like where I can get the best results. And like usually when I'm doing this, I usually find more results when doing this way. But in this case, it might just be worth to do the standard search. But at the same time, now we actually have like owners and founders as well, which can be good. And so yeah, like I really just recommend playing around this and seeing what's working best. Because again, you should know your niche better than I do. So yeah, I assume that you can really use these filters to the best of your niche. But yeah, that's basically it. It's quite simple. And then you might wonder, all right, I have heard of Apollo. It's quite expensive. You need like a subscription. It's a hassle to download all these different leads. Don't worry, I got you. So if you just go back to the resource. So, yeah, so just as I said here, you can play around with a ton of filters to find the process you're looking for. And it's very important that you know what job titles the decision makers have in your niche, because you obviously only want to scrape those leads. And pro tip, try using industry and keywords if you're struggling to find enough leads instead of just using the normal search function. I just show you that. And note, so this method, so the chiropractor example, we found some leads, which is great. But as it says here, this method usually works best for niches that have a big presence online. So if you are targeting local businesses, this approach probably isn't the best. Because even though you might think, all right, yeah, 5K leads and maybe 14K before, that is quite good, which it is. But let's say long term, you want to find, like your goal should be to scrape every single decision maker in your niche. And you know for a fact there are more people than actually 5K in this niche. This is not sustainable. It might be enough to get you going in the beginning, but by time you will need to find more leads. So yeah, then you probably will need to use another method that I'll show you. And yeah, so here's the pro tip I was mentioning about. So when using Apollo, you can use this tool, which is called like Apollo Scraper. I'll pull it up. You can use that to scrape the leads and only pay $3 per every 1,000 leads. It's a lot cheaper and more efficient than using Apollo to scrape the leads. So let's say you want to use this search right here, but you don't want to get it from Apollo. Then you just take the search URL you just got them, copy that. You go here into Apollo Scraper, but again, you can find the link in the resource. You press pay as you go. You insert the Apollo search URL. Select how many leads you want to find. So in this case, we had like, was it 5K? Yeah, so just take 5K. Then the total bill will be 15. Then after that, you just press next. You fill out all your payment details and you pay. And in like, I don't know, depending on how big the list is, you get it sent to your email in like maybe an hour or something. So not that long. And just so you know, so they will scrape most of the leads and get all the info you need. But what I've found is that when you get the first emails, or sort of the first leads from the list, you won't get all the emails. So then you can just sort and filter out the ones that have actual emails. So yeah, like you won't get all the info available, but it's still a lot more efficient in my opinion than using Apollo itself to get those leads. So yeah, that's a little cheat code, which I'm using myself. It's working great. Alright, so yeah, that was method 2 about the softwares. And if we then move on to method 3, this is more expensive and the best lead quality. So the best option is to hire a good lead sourcer that finds the leads for you. And if the lead sourcer is good, he or she will have developed a method to find high quality leads effectively, and you don't need to do any work yourself and also don't need to manage someone to do it for you. And the best platforms to find good lead sources are either Fiverr or Upwork. I've used Upwork the most, so I'll be showing you my process on this platform. So yeah, basically if I were to hire a lead sourcer today, I would just go to Upwork. And yeah, create a free account as someone looking to hire. So I already have my account, so let me just log into that. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of you probably have used Upwork or something else before. It can work really well if you know what you're doing and can actually see and find the best people. So I will just show you how, like, basically I go about it. If I can actually go, yeah, here we go. I'm in my account. So yeah, when you're in your account, you go to jobs, post a job. So here, jobs, post a job. And you select longer term work. Yep, continue. Write lead sourcer needed as the headline. Yeah, you can just, I think it will probably automatically find that one. And then next, skills. Let me see. Yeah, job category lead generation, skills lead generation, list building prospect list. By the way, let me just do it like this. Alright, so skills needed and lead generation. Yeah, we can add that one. List building, prospect list, data mining. Those are the ones I usually go with. And then after that, next is scope. I just take more than 6 months because, like, in an ideal way, I would always, if I find good talent, I of course want to hire them in the long run. And when people who work here actually see that your job is longer term, that is usually more attractive to them. Yeah, more than 6 months than expert, because of course we only want really good results. And yeah, yes, this could become full-time. Again, just makes the job opportunity more attractive towards the workers. And next, budget, project budget. I just usually set this to 400 because, yeah, I'll explain it later on, but usually I have a standard rate of paying lead sources $100 for every 1,000 leads they source. Of course, you can do lower than that or even higher. That's just what I think is reasonable. And if you want to do it lower, you need to keep in mind that a lot of the time, like if you pay less, you will get lower results. And so just keep that in mind. So that's why, because if you set everything up the way I'll show you later, you will be able to send out 4,000 emails per month, which is just the reason why this is $400 payment for 4,000 leads. But yeah, next description. So here I've actually gone ahead and created a description for you, which you can just copy and paste. and just change certain keywords to your niche and location. Yeah, which you can find here. So yeah, let me just simply take this and copy everything in here. And yeah, just make sure to like change to your niche and location. So yeah, we're looking for lead sources that can provide, yeah, let's say like chiropractor leads in the US. Your task, find leads in US that are chiropractors and provide us with this info. All the info I said earlier. Yeah, you can go ahead and read this yourself. It's quite simple and straightforward. Yeah, here at the qualification criteria, you need to also change some things. So the job titles you're looking for, you should change that to the job titles relevant to your niche. And yeah, a really good way, because most of the time, like, you don't really have an ID, because when you upload this job post, you will get a ton of people showing interest, but you won't really know beforehand if they're actually good or not. So what I always do is that I include in the job description that there is, like, to really like apply for this job opportunity, they need to send 5 trial leads to my email, so I can just see and check if they've actually taken the time to look at the job description and just do what I've told them to do. And yeah, you can just enter your email so it's efficient for you, so you can send it right after that. And yeah, it also says here we have a dedicated team member who will review each lead. Only quality leads are accepted if you're interested. Ensure you can provide quality data, and let's get started. And a very important line here is that email bounce rate must be under 1%, and then using never bounce. So you might be familiar with bounce and like verifying leads already, but when doing email marketing, you really have to verify the leads you're getting and their actual email addresses, because it's, let's say you get leads coming in, you find leads and you send out to these leads, but then you realize, all right, you have sent an email to someone, to an email address that doesn't really exist. What that means is that is called a bounce. So the email will bounce back to you, replying like, we couldn't really find this email. And when you do that too many times, like I have a high bounce rate, that means that the spam filters in like Google and Hotmail or whatever, they will notice this and start to flag your email address and the emails you're sending as spam, because usually it's almost always like email marketers or people like doing cold outreach that are getting bounces, because normal people usually don't send emails to like addresses that they don't know are existing or not. And the reason why that might not exist can just be like they just like changed company, it might be an old domain, whatever, it can be many reasons. So I just include this. So what I do, I think I'll mention it here as well. Yeah, so when you're done, post a job. And when the applications start coming in, you review each application and check they have provided the correct leads based on your criteria. And here I mentioned, so you also go to app.neverbounce.com, which I'll show you how to do. And you analyze the list for free to see if the list has been verified. So this is what I meant. So Neverbounce is probably the best tool out there when it comes to actually verifying leads. So let's just sign in, and then let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's say you get a CSV file on your email of like these 5 trial leads, and it looks good, but you don't know if they're actually verified or not. Then you can just download that list. You go here and Neverbounce, again, you can find the link here in the resource. You go to clean and then add list. You drag the file in here, and then you get 2 options. You can either pay and Neverbounce to verify the list for you. You won't do that first, because you of course want to check if they have done it themselves. So you choose the free version, which is just analyze my list. And what that means is that they will just do a quick analyze and create an expected bounce rate of the list. And if it says anything above 1%, you should not use that lead source, because as an example, so if it comes back like this is good. This says estimated bounce rate less than 1%. And this means that they have probably gone in and verified this list like through Neverbounce, which is good. But in my experience, anything above 1%, even if it says 2%, I think it's like green, but I wouldn't recommend to use that list, because like in reality, when you actually use those lists, the bounce rate will be like 15 or 20%. And even though the estimated bounce rate is 1% here, you will still get a few bounces, maybe like 5% or something. So only use less than 1% is my recommendation. Okay, and yeah, that's basically it. Like, you can always also talk to people here in messages, and when people respond to like different, they can apply there. But yeah, I just usually keep it on email. It's a lot easier. So yeah, that is that. All right, managing leads. So when you're starting to get leads, it's important that you have a good system for managing them all. And there are many fancy CRMs out there that you can use, but I just recommend using a simple spreadsheet, and especially if you're a beginner. It's the most simple and cost-effective way. And you can simply just use this template here. I'm gonna show you how you can actually use this. So I created this myself. And again, it's very simple. It's just a simple Google spreadsheet, and I handle most of my business through Google Drive, and therefore I use Google Sheets. So when you go into this, you will find there is a month. You of course can just change this. You make a copy of this first and make it your own. But you can just change this to whatever month it is. I have one tab that is not used and one that is duplicates. So first of all, when you get new leads, you want to save them somewhere. You upload them here, and you of course match the correct row or column to the correct headline. And yeah, these first one are basically just the same ones that I mentioned before, but I've added one, which is called date added instantly. And not to explain too much for now, this is simply like instantly is a tool we use for email sending. And when we, like, it's very neat to actually just mark a date when you've added the leads to the sending software, because when you have a bunch of leads in here, it can get confusing of which leads you have used and which leads you have not used. So I just usually put like today's date when I actually add them to my sending software, so I can just keep track. But yeah, you just add the info here, and yeah, it just goes down, and when it's next month, you just make a copy and create a new one for the next month. Not used, it's just a good tab to have. Let's say you have a certain list you don't want to use right now, or maybe want to use in the future. You can just put this in here and just store it here. And there's also one for duplicates. So when you are collecting leads and getting a ton of leads from different sources, you will of course find duplicates. And to make sure that doesn't happen, what I recommend is that as soon as you get a new list, you paste the list in here, and then you just paste a new list under that. And when you've done that, I won't show you it right now, but it's not that advanced. You can just do certain, like, I think it's in like data. But yeah, there are basically ways to find duplicates in, like, let's say you want to check the emails for duplicates. You can just check, and then it will like mark each row that is a duplicate with like a color. And you can just quickly sort of sort those out, because we don't want to contact the same leads over and over and over again. So yeah, that's just quite a good feature. But yeah, that is basically it. It's very simple, as I said, but it's still working for me, and I think it should work great for you as well. And so yeah, go ahead and make a copy of that now. And yeah, pro tip, always upload your new list to the duplicates folder. After you upload each batch, it's very simple to check if you have added any duplicates. All right, I actually wrote it here, so I will actually show you how to do this. So if we just take a look at this. So yeah, how to check. So go to data, you go to data, and data cleanup suggestions, review column stats. Yeah, and if the frequency is higher than 1 in the email section, this means you have added, you do this instead. So of course this is empty right now, so I won't see the data, but there will be, like, if you have a ton of emails in here, and there will be like a frequency bar, which means that how many this exact email appears in this sheet. So if that is above 1, like 2 or even 3, this means that you've added the same lead more than once. So I think there should just be a simple option to just clean that list and clean that, like just a check mark. Yeah, and then it's a duplicate, of course. You just remove those. So yeah, it's quite easy to do that as well. All right, then we're done with that. So the last sort of point, verifying leads. I touched on this before, and yeah, as I mentioned in method 3, it's important to always verify the leads you are collecting. If you send out emails to unverified leads, you will end up in the spam box very quickly. And once you end up in there, it's very hard to fix. So I recommend using either one of these two tools, Neverbounce, which I showed you before, or millionverify.com. Neverbounce is more expensive but better in my opinion, and Million Verifier is cheaper but still okay. And I really only recommend this option if you have a very tight budget. because you generally don't want to be cheap when verifying leads, because again, it's very, very important. So yeah, just use Neverbounce, or if you are very, very tight budget, then use Million Verify. But yeah, that's basically it for this video. Wasn't that long as I expected. But yeah, that's basically it. Now, you should know how to basically collect your leads for your niche and how to manage them and store them and everything.